Oh, wow. I love live episodes.
They're not stressful at all.
No, everything's fine. Okay. In this live episode, Halloween episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk with Amy McCaw, Don Kurtagich, Kat Ellis, and Rosie Talbot about their short stories from the anthology A Taste of Darkness. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult and sometimes other books, series, authors, voice actors, and illustrators that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda, and I have the scariest fucking teeth, and I'm afraid that they're going to come out.
And I'm Claire, and I'm waiting for those scary fucking teeth to come out. And today we're going to talk with Amy McCaw, Don Kurtagich, Kat Ellis, and Rosie Talbot about their short stories from the anthology A Taste of Darkness, which we all have in some various forms in our
person. Mine's back there. You probably can't see it. It's too dark. Standard disclaimer. If you haven't read this book, what is wrong with you? Go get it right now and read it. Please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read and don't want to be spoiled, too bad, because we're live. If you haven't read but want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show and these amazing authors so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen up. Yay! I'm so excited to be doing a Halloween episode of Fictional Hangover again. It's amazing. These are our favorite episodes.
Any excuse to dress up.
Any excuse to dress up with a bunch of creeps.
Amen.
Yay! Oh, and this time we're really lucky because, I mean, it wouldn't be a Halloween episode without Don Kurtagich if you saw our puppets and then us reenacting what our puppets were doing. It wouldn't be a Halloween episode without Don Kurtagich, but also Amy and Kat have joined us for the past couple of years, and now we have a new friend, Rosie Talbot, that we dragged on to join us too. Yay! Yay! Thanks for coming, everyone.
And we are covering 16 Souls next month. Spoilers!
Oh, God.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. So, Claire, what are your initial thoughts about only these 4 stories?
What the fuck?
They're so good!
Thanks for the nightmare fuel. Appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. So, okay, I'm really struggling with these teeth, but they're not coming out.
I think Pike's teeth are just for the win. They have to stay, even if your tongue gets bloody. Just that's the price you have to pay.
You know, it's actually the inside of my lip that is probably going to get bloody, but it's fine. You do it all. You know, it's just all for the live. It's fine.
It adds to the effect. It's just adding to the overall effect.
Yeah.
None of this is CG. We don't buy into all of that computer jiggery. If it's not real blood, it's not blood.
It would be really great if I did just start bleeding from the mouth and it just starts oozing down. It would be really good.
It also wouldn't be the
not
first
for you.
time.
That wouldn't be great for you.
It would be good for everyone else, though.
We're doing it for the content, Amanda. Do it for the content.
It's true. Yeah, I will do it for the content. Oh my goodness. So this episode, everyone who's listening right now, we're going to try to do a sort of a mashup of a regular episode of Fictional Hangover plus our bonus episodes. So just, go along with it because that's what we're doing. Okay, so we're going to go in order of the stories in the anthology. So that means Rosie's story is first. Rosie, can you tell us about your story? You can be as spoilery as you want to.
Ooh. Do you know, I've never had to introduce it in a way that's spoilery before. So it's called How to Disappear, and it's inspired by the creepy woods near my house. and my love of the dark things that lurk in the earth that will absolutely eviscerate you. And it's set in a fictional village, a fictional Sussex village called Gore, which I feel like it's always a bad sign generally when the village is called Gore. probably a hint of what's to come. And there's a character called Finch whose secret boyfriend that he's worried about has lost his brother 7 years before, because every 7 years in Gore, a boy goes missing. And it's tied in with Finch's dad, essentially. I know I can give spoilers, but I'm just, I'm pondering here. And
it's a weird feeling, but go with it.
I know, it's
once you start giving you spoilers out, you'll suddenly go, oh, it's a relief.
It is. So everybody thinks that Finch's dad killed him, but there was no evidence. So his dad left town, and everybody kind of has ostracized Finch and his artist mother in the community, but they have nowhere else to go, so they stayed there. And he's secretly dating this boy, and he's determined that this is going to be the year that he uncovers the truth, except Finch knows the truth of what happened, and he really doesn't want his boyfriend to go into the woods because he thinks he's the next target for these dark creatures, which are never named in the story. I never wanted to specifically say whether they were fae or not. I wanted to keep it kind of loosey-goosey. And Finch's boyfriend, Theo, with his friends, Rory, decide they're going to go monster hunting in the woods. So the vast majority of the short story takes place in the creepy, creepy woods as the boys stalk the monsters, or rather are stalked by the monsters. And it has a bit of an open ending as to exactly quite what goes down. Ooh. I know, but I couldn't help it.
Oh, no, I love open-ended stories. They're the best.
Me too.
Oh, so good. They're so good. Also, I really dug the sexy relationship between our two boys. I was very swoony.
It was a little bit. I didn't mean for it to be a little bit sexy. I was like, I got to build this relationship really quickly, because I have 5,000 words. So, yeah, that's what belt scene came from.
Right? You can't grab somebody's belt. You can't do that and not be sexy. That's amazing. I really loved the ending and like being absorbed and like becoming a creepy tree monster. Like, yes, I'm here for that. I would love to get sucked in and become some sort of creepy thing.
That is your life ambition.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Village of Gore, it can be arranged.
Oh, okay. Do I have to murder anyone?
What we have to do is form a council, and then we need to declare a village, and then we need to get people to move in. Then we can get the creepy fae to come in. It's a lot of planning.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we can work on that.
I think it's possible. We just gotta rally.
Yeah.
Convince the dark, scary fae that it's worth moving in and sacrificing people horribly in the woods.
Yeah, it's fine.
Which is like their favorite thing anyway. So for them, it's basically a holiday.
Yes. I love it. Rosie, I'm so glad you were able to join us for this too, because like I said earlier, you're new to the show. You're a new friend and you already fit in so well. So I'm really happy about that.
All it takes is a bit of human sacrifice and you're in.
Yes, that's all it takes.
And that is a compliment. I'm sure that's how Amanda means it.
Oh, of course I do. You guys should all know me by now. Rosie gets a pass.
I can't stop looking at you, Amanda. Like, especially like the whole eye thing. It's like just such a creepy.
It's the lips that are getting me. Like the kind of Joker meets Scary Mermaid thing is like really working for me.
It's incredible.
Thank you. I'm just glad that I already don't have eyebrows, so I didn't have to do any work to make them disappear.
Bonus.
It is a bonus. It's really good for cosplay.
Oh, bad news, everyone. Sharon in the chat has just said that her Sunday sacrifice has been cancelled due to rain. She's very disappointed.
Oh,
typical British weather spoiling our human sacrifice.
Ruining the fun.
Okay, so does anyone have anything that they want to add about Rosie's story, or should we move on to Amy's story?
I would like to add that I had the sudden urge to get a giant hammer and bury somebody, and I don't know if that's an impulse control thing and I need to seek therapy, or I've just read a lot of fiction.
I mean, it could just be practice in case they come after you, and you're like, you got to make sure it's an iron hammer.
Yeah.
But exactly.
And that some very sexy person sexually puts it in your belt. That was such a good scene. Look, no one can take me seriously right now with the way that I sound, but that was such a good scene.
Have a hammer.
I had to, like, writing that scene, I had to be like, okay, I have to somehow make this a little bit sexy, like, make, you know, kind of build the relationship between these boys. But at no point can Theo touch the metal part of this hammer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do we have a hammer? So I'm not kidding. I like got people to wear a belt and kind of I could get a hammer in a belt without touching the metal part and be like, is this realistic? It's possible. It's
also, you can't trust someone flirting with you, because if you live by a forest and there are weird legends, then everyone who finds you attractive is immediately suspicious because of that story.
Yeah.
If anyone tries to put a hammer down your belt, just run away.
They usually do. Yeah.
No.
I feel like if you're going into the woods and someone just has an iron hammer and is like, we're just gonna take this with us. Be suspicious. Again,
be suspicious of any murder wood. Any wood involving a lot of murder. Be suspicious.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Amy's story, which, I mean, I love the title of this one, The House of Teeth, because, I mean, if you know anything about Fictional Hangover, you know about my weird obsession with teeth, so.
No.
What?
That's a shock.
Yeah, so the title was the first thing that came to me. I was talking to Mia, and of course she'd got this beautifully polished idea about, you know, Polish grandmother, Polish forest, and it was all very perfect for her. And I was like, I've got nothing. What am I going to write for this thing? And I was like, I could write a story called The House with Teeth. And Mia was like, that's gross. Where did that come from? I said, I don't know, but since you had such a visceral reaction to it, I'm going to do it. And it just came from there. I was like, why would a house have teeth? That's very strange. So you can, like Rosie's, I kind of left it a little open so you can determine yourself exactly what the house does to people. But essentially, Violet is holding a Halloween party at her house, which is also the night of her 18th birthday. And there's a treasure hunt as part of this party. And this is usually where I say ... but I'm going to give you the little spoilers now, which feels weird. And it does transpire that Violet is working on behalf of the house because every generation the house needs to consume somebody. And Violet, up to a point, is up for this plan until she realizes that the really hot boy is the person that she is going to be consumed. And she starts to have doubts. Can I actually, it doesn't matter that he's a hot boy, can I actually give somebody else's life for my own family's curse? And that's where the story ends, where Violet makes her decision about that.
Oh, and it was such a good ending.
Which people are quite angry about. They were like, no, push the boy in. Although some people did message me and say, the boy's really hot, actually, I would do it. Which I think is a bad life choice. Do not jump into the wall just because the boy is hot. Jump into the wall because you know, are making some great sacrifice. And somebody said to me, like, you know, was asking me about the whole family curse thing. And I said, well, it's up to you whether the curse ends now that Violet's made that sacrifice, whether it just carries on and her little sister's got this burden that her children will have to make that choice. So sorry to bring her on a little downer with that. I feel like with a short story, you can kind of, like the Mina books, I think are quite optimistic. I think a lot of us in the short stories kind of took free reign with that. Like, I think Rosie's went to darker places, and I've seen Rosie's writing go before. And we kind of have that. I mean, we know that Dawn and Kat are just like going to take us to the dark anyway, and they did not disappoint. But I don't know. I don't know how you felt, Rosie, because our books normally have that slightly kind of more cozy vibe to them as well. Did you feel that the short story just allowed you to go into some different places?
Yeah, I think with 16 Souls and 12 Bones, there's, because of the found family aspect of the kind of group of ghosts and kids who are kind of doing stuff, there's always going to be that slightly wholesome, slightly kind of, you know, I have characters that I really like. I like them. I don't want bad things to happen to them. I think with Finch and Theo, I'm like, I mean, okay, boys, it ain't going to end well. And I appreciate that you exist, but I'm going to put you through hell, and I don't care. I'm just going to have, because you've only existed in my brain for like 2 days. I can let you go. It's cool.
Welcome to the dark side.
Yeah.
Welcome.
That's how Dawn and Kat feel just all the time about all of their characters. We're going to give them hell no matter how long the book is, no matter how, you know, much we love them, we're still going to like rip the readers' hearts out because that's what we do. My problem was that I always knew that was how it was going to end, that this family member, even before I knew who they were, that they were going to step into the wall, that it was their family's curse and they were taking that on. And then I did start to like Violet, and I was like, oh no, I really still need this story to go that way. And Kev was trying to find ways out of it for her, like, you know, could like her mum get shoved into the wall because it's like her, she's the older generation, it's kind of more her fault. And I was like, no, I'm going to see this thing through. This is how this was always meant to be. So it did hurt a little bit, but not as much as it would hurt, you know, after 3 books with Mina and the gang. It would hurt more to hurt them. I have to warn you, all of you, that Lauren James did write in several places, no, not that character. Why do you keep doing this to me? So you do have a little bit of that to look forward to in the 3rd Mina book. But,
oh my gosh, that makes me so
I would like to
happy.
say with the short story, picture this: arson. That bloody house.
What is going to rise? What is going to rise
jerk.
though from like the burning embers of that house? Like, what are you going to release into the world?
Souls.
I don't care. I'm not
So
living
many
there.
souls.
Is it worth the risk? I just don't know. Like, is this
You might be
weird,
freeing the
macabre,
souls.
like burned thing? Like, you know how well this worked in Anna Dressed in Blood? Like, burning the house down doesn't normally do the trick, does it? Like,
Also, the
might
house
be the
can turn
case.
liquid. The house can turn liquid, so it would just extinguish the fire. It would just like smoke.
It would. Yeah, it would probably actually just throw the fire back in your face, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, Dawn has it right. Like, Dawn can think like this house.
I
That
really
house is a
related
jerk.
to the
That house
house.
needs to pay. What else? Okay, what about wood lice? You know, can we infest it with wood lice and eat it from the inside?
Infest it. What
You
are
want
those
to eat
things?
people?
Termites?
Fine. We'll get insects
Termites,
to eat
yeah.
you because you're a jerk. That house is a complete jerk. And I will say, in my mind, I had the Addams Family mansion as the house.
It's so funny. I wrote it. I mean, when did I write it? Gosh, a long time ago. And then Wednesday came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is quite similar vibes." And I think they pitched Yaz in like when she's pitching stuff to do with my story. She says that it's like Wednesday meets whatever, and I was like, I did it first. Oh, why does this always happen? You do something that you think is really unique, and then somebody comes along and makes a big Netflix series about it. It's just
Well,
really
if it makes you feel better, Amy, it wasn't the Wednesday that Addams Family vibes I got. It was original 90s Angelica Houston vibes. But,
okay, I think that's better actually. I like those vibes.
Yeah.
I just want to
90s
say,
vibes.
I want to go to a party thrown by Amy McCaw because
You really
there's so
Like,
much singing and so much good food, and like everybody's just belting out random 80s and 90s songs. Like, yes, that's the kind of
But-
party that I want to have.
But a chandelier might like decapitate you, or
That's
the first
fine.
time.
Yeah,
Is it worth the risk?
Yes.
it is. If I can stand like at the top of a banister and sing Journey, I'm there.
Amanda, you don't need to go
Amanda's
to a
like-
party to do that. You have that freedom.
That's true. I could just go upstairs and do
And can
that
you
right
please
now.
do it whilst with your full costume on?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that you could definitely actually. Can you be the host of one of my parties? Like, I'll create the venue, you can host it.
Yes. of
I'll not
course.
be there. I'll be like in some safe location watching some live stream or something.
Yeah, okay. We can do that. It's fine. It sounds like a good plan.
I'll be there.
Everyone
wanna
needs
eat
to
my
be there.
Cheese cubes and pickled onions on a stick. That's where I'll be.
Height of sophistication.
Mm.
I honestly, it felt like it was a buffet from a family do back in the 90s. All it
Honestly,
needed
I did
was
sit there
the
and think,
sausage-
what did we used to eat in the 90s? They made me take some of them out too because they weren't universally known enough. Like, I can't remember which ones it was, but some I think were a bit Yorkshire, and they were like,
if
what?
you didn't have the sausages, the full sausages with the slit, and then the cheesy mash piped in, which I've told Amanda about a million times, she's like, that
Yeah.
cannot be true, then it's not a proper
Yeah.
northern buffet.
It can be true, yeah. It can. I mean,
Classy
we used to have
punters.
orange wrapped in foil with little cocktail sausages as well. Like on the
Cocktail sausage hedgehog.
Yeah.
You sent me
Yeah.
a picture of that once, Claire.
There's just,
Yes,
there's
I
just a lot of sausage in Northern Pies for some reason.
Everything's cubed.
Yep, we put them in Yorkshire puddings under the sticks, you know.
Mhm,
If anybody comes in at the wrong point during the live stream, they're going to be like, what kind of Northern Parties is she talking about?
You've got to have your classy vol au vents.
Just for the context, children's parties, everything is fine.
Yeah, children's party.
No one's gonna get sacrificed at all, we swear.
No, it's not in a demon house.
No, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I think we need to move on to Kat's story, The Visiting Grey. Ooh,
Yes, The Visiting
this
Grey
one
is
was fun.
based on a Welsh legend called the Murray Lloyd, which if you don't live in Wales, you won't have heard of. So it's the legend, the real legend, not the one that I've sort of pinched and modified for my own purposes, but the real legend is it's like a spirit wearing a horse's skull for a mask and a veil, which goes door to door during midwinter nights, knocking on doors for hospitality. It's actually, I mean, it like sings songs and you're supposed to sing one back at it. It's all sort of in good, trick or treat style spirit. But for my purposes, I decided to make it a bit more sinister. So in the story, we have a babysitter called Gemma who's just moved to this creepy little Welsh village in the middle of nowhere. And she's babysitting for this equally creepy little boy called James, who tells her about this, local superstition that she assumes is just a superstition, and she's never heard of it before. The Murray Lloyd who comes knocking on the door, and if you lock the door, if you try and lock it out, and you don't offer it food and hospitality, if you don't invite it in, then it will take your soul to the underworld. So she's obviously like, come on, you're 8, I'm not listening to you. So she completely ignores James's warnings and just assumes that when she starts to hear eerie singing outside and strange knocking at the window, that it's just, somebody local playing a prank, or,
The wind?
the wind.
It's not the wind. It's never
It
the wind.
explains for a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the wind is always up to mischief. But she soon realizes, of course, that the Murray Lloyd is not just, a kid's story that he's heard at school. It's very real, and that she's very much in danger because she decides to lock it out. But that doesn't stop the Murray Lloyd. And it all ends badly for Gemma.
Just be polite.
It's a theme, isn't it? Things don't. Are there any of the stories where things end really well and like they're really happy at the end of it? I actually can't think of one.
Yes.
None of ours.
Not
The
ours.
party. The party has quite a positive
Yeah.
ending.
Yeah, it does actually. Not for everyone, but yeah, most of the characters are all right by the end of that.
And not for
It
the
depends on
future either. Not for the future.
I would argue Rachel's a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Again, not for most people, but for certain people, it's ending okay for them.
I would argue as well that's something wicked. Happens. Liberation, freedom from oppression, independence. Bye, Daddy.
But is there anything worse, honestly, than being sucked into Mary Lloyd? I don't know. Devoured.
But she's got a cool mask, so
Yeah, I mean, I was very tempted to do that as my costume this evening, but didn't manage to lay my hands on a horse's skull, unfortunately.
Can you imagine if Kat had just taken the machete to horse?
It's amazing what you can get from eBay, though.
Cat.
Yeah, I'm not crafty enough for such things.
I thought about doing that one. But I did a similar cosplay. I don't even remember what book that was for. Was that Melinda Barabay's
Yes.
story?
We Were Monsters.
Yes,
My friend has a 3D printer, and I saw them today, and they were like, "Oh, if there's anything you want 3D printing," I'm like,
I don't think they expect you to say a life-size horse head, please. My own head
to be
in a
fair, I don't think it would be out of that, the
Yeah.
realm of being unexpected.
They offered. Kitty cat.
Yeah, I apologize. She keeps cruising by, but she will start hissing and growling if I touch her.
Well, thank goodness it's not a Dalmatian puppy. Whew.
That
Indeed.
would not go well today.
It's not that kind of live stream.
I mean, we've been talking about sacrifice.
I was about to say, we are talking an awful lot about sacrifice today.
Yeah, we sacrifice people, not puppies. Puppies are good. Kitties are good. People,
Dubious, yeah. And actually, I think that's what I loved about Cat Story is it's basically being like, don't be rude to host. Like, you have to be a good host. Don't be rude. You know, Amy, take notes for your party. You got to like welcome people in, even if they're a creepy spirit that likes to kidnap and murder people. You're just going to give the benefit of the doubt. Or, you know, they're like, do you want these tiny like sausages with like weird cream? I've made you a northern spread. You're welcome. I feel like that's what the story's telling us.
I feel like if you combine your stories, it would be really go really wrong, wouldn't it? Can you imagine like Louis' story plus mine plus Cat's just all mashed together?
yes, and I want it.
Me too.
I know, when me and Amanda were talking about, we talk offline all the time, and we were talking about the stories, and we were talking about cats, and every single thing I was saying was just, fuck that creepy ass kid. No, fuck that creepy ass kid.
Sacrifice him.
Yeah.
He is terrifying. Like,
sacrifice him, get your Xbox game, and get out.
Yeah. To be fair to James, right, and I have to just say at this juncture that he was named after a student that I did a school visit with, and he asked to be, you know, for a character to be named after him. And I said, I will absolutely name a character James, as long as you agree that he can be really creepy. So, so obviously he used his name.
Hells, yeah.
But James in the story isn't as bad as his parents, who completely just set the whole thing up, set Gemma up to die, and left their 8-year-old kid to kind of like shove her into the mouth of Mary Lloyd, basically. Yeah. So I think James is turned pretty well considering his parents.
I 100% agree. I do. You know, his upbringing cannot be great because his parents are jerks. So many jerks in this anthology. But the thing is, though, the parents aren't there to take the Mary Lloyd, like, instead of me. And if it's between me and this creepy little ass kid, then the creepy little ass kid's going to get it. I will open that door. I will find a closet that has a lock on it. I will lock myself in the closet inside a locked room. You know, I'll take some snacks. You know, I'll take my Switch in with me and keep myself entertained because, you know, it's going to be a bit dark. And then just let the Mary Lloyd get the kid. And then that'll teach the parents a lesson.
You've had such training though, Claire and Amanda. Like all the would you rathers, your senses must be like honed for this kind of situation. Whereas I think like a typical YA character definitely just wants it to not be true, don't they? So they spend the whole time trying to like, it's not real. You two would be like, you would survive, I'm sure. One of our horror stories.
I would never jump to the conclusion that it's the wind. I'd be like, shit, it's a ghost.
Immediately, the demon.
Immediately. Oh my God. Years ago, we had an earthquake in Britain, and it was rubbish. Unless you were down south, where you might have had a toppled over chair in the garden, and up north, my washing went. And that was it. And I woke up and instantly I turned to my husband. I went, "It's a ghost." He went, "Shut up, Claire." Bear in mind, I am massively skeptical, and I've never really witnessed any kind of spooky thing. And I've been on ghost. I'm going on a ghost hunt next week, but I've never witnessed anything spooky. But instantly, I will always jump to the conclusion it's a ghost.
I would be like, "It's a ghost," and then skip along with it.
Oh,
let's go together.
Okay, I've decided what's going to happen if either Amanda or Claire are babysitting James. I think the parents are going to get home thinking it's been successful, and they're going to find you all on the couch, like with the horse from the Switch. And James would be like, "Yeah, it didn't work. They just let him in, and now we're friends."
Gave it a Mars bar, and now it's all right.
Yeah,
the last ditch Mars bar that really made me smile. Like I was like, Gemma, it's too late for a Mars bar.
I could just see that happening though. Like it would be that was very cinematic. Like you could just see the little mail flap opening and then the tiny little Mars bar coming through. Like, but it's like shaking because you're terrified while you're putting it through. I love it.
And then it comes back.
Yeah.
It's like the rapper. Just remember like
Imagine if it was a bounty, then you definitely get it. Blech.
I love a bounty.
Oh, well, that makes one.
What is a bounty?
More-
Someone
more-
tell
more
the only
A
American
bounty
here.
is a desiccated coconut. I'm going to send you some. Because you said you like almond joys, so you'll probably
Yeah.
like these. It's
Okay.
desiccated coconut wrapped, like covered in dark chocolate.
That
They're
sounds
quite
amazing.
sticky.
Even
Yeah, I know you'll love it. You'll love it. I'll send you some for Christmas.
Thank
I
you.
quite like
I'll
it in small
And
amounts.
your whispers.
I do need more whispers. Oh, so good.
We have to all band together and send Amanda like our favorite UK stuff.
Please
Let's
do.
do it.
That would be amazing. And then I can
Yeah,
send you
okay,
all
let's do
American garbage.
Yeah, you can
nobody
send
wants.
one to each of us.
Yeah. And the shipping will be $1,000. It's worth
Yeah.
it.
I did that with
Send
a
your scroll,
Canadian
yeah.
friend. Elizabeth Sagewood sent me a load of maple syrup flavored things. It was awesome. Like
Oh.
literally so much stuff in Canada's maple syrup flavored. It was good. And maple leaves on everything, like bookmarks, keyring. She sent me like the full Canadian tourist experience. It was
Oh, I
very
love
good.
it.
So, yeah, so we should do the reverse for you. Like we'll think of our favorite.
Absolutely. We could have like a
Okay, so-
north and south section as well.
That would be
Ooh.
so cool. Thank you guys for taking care of me over here since I'm all over here by myself.
Well,
In
the
your
chocolate
lake.
over there is rubbish.
Oh, do you know it's
Honestly,
so
Hershey's taste like sour milk or vomit to me.
It is. Because I think it
Because
is.
it has a chemical in it that is the same chemical that you find in vomit. That's a fact. You can Google it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's also
It's
really,
so-
really sweet.
I feel like we've segued
Oh,
onto
God.
like Halloween candy now as well.
I
Shall we
mean,
dive
it's
into
the time of
Dawn's
year.
before we start going
we
into
do,
the
yes.
the
We'll have
random
to
stuff?
circle back to vomit flavored Halloween candy. We definitely will. Okay, so Dawn, tell us about And the Waters Crept In.
So I also took a local Welsh legend because that was the initial pitch for the anthology, was that you would take a local legend and kind of reimagine it. So we follow this young girl, Anya, who's an Irish immigrant, and she comes to Gwydir Castle in Wales, which is just gorgeous. And she's there to be a washerwoman, essentially. And when she's shown her room, this disembodied, sexy male voice starts talking to her. And it turns out to be, and Kat, if I'm pronouncing this wrong, please correct me, but Aaron? Is that it? Aaron?
Right.
The Lord of the Underworld manifests himself to her, and he's trying to get her to be free and, accept him, basically. And she's got these horrible people working with her, bullying her and belittling her. So eventually she does accept his help and his love. And it's a complete trick. And I feel like we were sort of mind reading each other with all of these stories, because it turns out that he's tricked her to take his place. And it's kind of like a chain letter situation. And she becomes the queen of the underworld. And he's like, yay, I'm free. I'm mortal again. But then she walls him up in where he died, basically. And he dies in the wall. So I feel like
so
this
good.
is-
Look at that guy.
yeah. And yeah,
were
she's
talking-
like, she's dragged up the chimney into a watery death. by the
Oh,
Avan.
it's so
And
good.
You're the
By
Avan
me.
right now. Yeah. So good. With the little pike's teeth.
We were talking
so
about like how none of the stories had happy endings, and I'm like, hello, she's the queen of the underworld now.
Yeah.
That's an amazingly happy ending.
Or
Don't forget to
I
all
remember
back
his
on
real
Bess.
name.
Couldn't stand Bess.
Yeah,
Ugh.
but imagine you've been trapped for centuries, and then you're like, yes, I'm free, but then you reanimate where your corpse was buried, and it's behind a freaking wall, and then your victim essentially sends in the waters to make you molder into mushrooms. It's kind of not great, unless you
I
like
think
it.
after
is
centuries he would have
so
thought about this
good.
a bit more.
You
But
would think
obviously,
so. Maybe he didn't know where he was buried.
I mean,
Because the
all the
myth
walls
of the
do.
real story is that a working girl, had an affair with one of the lords, and he killed her and chopped her up and buried her behind the wall. So that was kind of the actual lore of this place. You can go see the room and see the wall. And
That
apparently
just
she-
sounds like typical like aristocratic houses in the UK. There's
Yeah.
always a dead body in some wall for some reason.
and some ghost in a white dress always.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah, Yeah, I used to work in the National Trust properties, and luckily, like none of the properties I ever worked in were haunted. But in a way, I'm kind of sad. But I do think I was quite pragmatic about my job. And if I had encountered a ghost, I would have been just like, "Ugh, go back to bed, Sandra. I've got work to do. Come on with your haunting in your white ghosty dresses. I'm carrying a priceless antique here. Just give me room."
Yeah, come on, aren't you tired? This is so old.
I know, right? It's just like,
Ain't nobody got time for this.
nobody's got time to be tricked by a creepy river king and then,
Indeed. Indeed.
tricked into becoming a river goddess.
Yeah, but I just love the parallels between all the stories, right? Because there was a fingernail in yours. There's a fingernail in mine ripped out on the floorboards.
Yeah, there is in Cynthia's as well. Why did we all go to like these really weird and creepy places?
I think we were like channeling each other, because also my thing buried behind a wall, yours, Amy, jumps into a wall.
Yeah.
No,
Mia and I, as we read it, we were like, this has got some really nice themes. And a few people have asked me about like the thematic like quality of the book. I was like,
yeah, and we completely worked separately. There you go.
Yes. We need to be like, yes, that was all cleverly orchestrated and planned. You're such geniuses.
Totally did it on purpose.
I mean, it's not even just like your stories as well that the theme continues, because the amount of body swaps that take place, it's crazy. There was the fingernail, the really gross one in Cynthia Murphy's Till Death Do Us Part.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She finds the fingernail on her bed.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's loads, absolutely loads. I will say, Coral, one of our super fans, she has been obsessively texting me over one particular story, and it's actually Melinda Salisbury's St. Clover. Like, she's been texting me images of what keeps coming in her mind about the flowers that keep coming out of her mouth, and I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. She's just obsessed over these images, and like, it's just constant theming within all of them, that there's just things just bursting out of people, body swapping taking place, jerks everywhere, and it's just creepiness. It's such, if it was unintentional, it's been a fantastic unintentional theming that's taken place, which has meant that the anthology has been cohesive, and it works so well.
It's amazing. Okay, so shall we move on? Shall we play Would You Rather now?
Yes.
Is it time? It's time.
Pew, 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 pew. Oh God! Why do we have that?
It's really loud, and I held it so far away from the mic too. That was disgustingly loud. Sorry, everyone. You're deaf now, but it's time to play Would You Rather.
So we asked on social media, would you rather read an anthology of spooky short stories by several of your favourite authors, or one horror novel by one of your favourites? I'm really surprised by the results. On Facebook, 60% said anthology. On Instagram, 55% said anthology. And TikTok, 75% said anthology. So guys, you just have to go short stories and you're fine. Just kick out those 5,000 words.
It's easier to write them, so I'm all for that.
There you go.
I write my short stories.
Well, before we start answering, we've got some listener comments for you. So Colin on Facebook said, right now I'd go for an anthology, please. Stories by my favourite authors? Check. Stories by new authors that might turn into favourites? Check. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say no to a new Joe Hill book, but anthology would hit a sweet spot right about now.
That's a good answer. Can I borrow that, like, when I'm pitching the next anthology, please?
Go for it. Go for it.
Drew on Facebook said, some of my favorite horror books are short story anthologies, so it's a no-brainer for me.
And Vincent on Facebook said, anthology for me. I have a short squirrel.
Bree on Facebook said, I want to say anthology because I want to support a variety of authors and flavors, but much like candy, I always prefer the one flavor package of Reese's Pumpkins over the variety pack bags of fun-size bars with the gross almond joys, which I wanted to fight her about because I love an almond joy.
Annie on Facebook said anthologies are great because you can read a story in a short time, and if one doesn't work for you, you move on to the next.
TJ Purett's author on Instagram said, I have a recently birthed appreciation for short stories, so I'll go with that for the present.
And lastly, we have Glimglam Jen on Instagram. No! Panic! I'm scared of spooky stories. I'll read the short stories because at least the terror is over faster. Now, I would argue the terror may be over faster, but it's more intense because it has to ramp up straight away and hit hard.
I think
And
like,
one after the other.
Yeah, you think you've escaped one, but it's like falling from one nightmare into the next.
Exactly. Fingernails falling off everywhere, body swapping happening, the fear coming out of the woods.
Look, I'm there for it.
Just
Mushrooms and scary teeth. Yes. Okay, so Dawn, what do you say?
I would like specifically a full-length novel of each of the stories in this anthology. Because I wanted more.
Not demanding it at all. Love it.
So get started, all of you.
All right, Kat, what about you?
I would go for the anthology. I like a sort of story tapas, which I think is what you get.
Oh, I like that story tapas.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, Rosie, what do you say?
I love an anthology, specifically a horror anthology. I think there's something about horror stories that lend themselves so well to that format that, you know, I think most other genres, I'd be like, oh, I'm a bit torn. But when it comes to horror, I love an anthology. If somebody publishes a horror anthology, I will buy it. Every time I will read it all year round. I love them.
Okay, Amy, what about you?
I'm going to vote anthology as well, mainly because I'm promoting one. Look, everybody buy it. But also because it's just 13 opportunities to get an insight into 13 twisted brains as opposed to one. And like, I think, was it Colin who said in the Facebook comments, it's just that opportunity to visit favorite authors and then find new ones. I just think is great. And especially adult horror, I'm a big scaredy cat. So if it's too much for me, I can kind of reset with each story, so it seems a little bit more accessible. Like, I think if I've got a whole novel that takes me to a really dark place, I sometimes struggle, but little pockets of dark places, fine.
It's like a taster menu for the authors.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like, has anybody come across, is it Creature Feature that's on Amazon at the moment? That's like a novella by, I think there's one by Joe Hill, one by Grady Hendrix, a few other, Paul Tremblay, some amazing authors, and I'm really enjoying them because if it was a whole novel, I think I'd be too scared, but each of them I just get to a point where I almost can't cope, and then the next one starts and I'm back down to zero. So yeah, anthology, definitely.
See, I want to go with a full-length novel, but kind of like Dawn, I want a full-length novel from each of you.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be these stories. I just need more. I mean, you can't really see my shelves back here right now, but they're all decked out with all of your books. So we just need to add more to it.
It's a right faster.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
And then I get more characters to cosplay. So, but I guess I would get a lot of characters to cosplay in an anthology too.
You've got at least 13 stories for inspiration in this one.
That's
at
true.
least.
That's true.
I still don't think you're going to top Gary Oldman. I'm sorry, but you were just like so sexy as Gary Oldman. It's ridiculous. Like, if anybody hasn't seen it yet,
I love that.
As Gary Oldman from Dracula was just like a sight to behold. Like, honestly,
it was very, very attractive.
Yeah, and like even reenacted scenes. Can you do it, please? I don't know. Can you do it in those teeth and still be sexy?
I don't think I can. But I did crack up laughing every time then too, so it would be okay. I don't have a palm frond to hide behind or anything right now. So
you've got a lettuce leaf. Hide behind your lettuce leaf.
I have my lettuce leaf, my charred lettuce leaf that I get to hide behind. No, I love that we always talk about that, Amy.
I can't help it. It's on my mind quite regularly.
It's your Roman Empire.
Exactly, that's it.
It brings out feelings that people just don't realise in others. Just
confusing feelings, definitely.
I mean, I did feel very handsome. Very, very handsome. Oh, Claire, did you answer this question?
I don't think so. I'm going to say anthology just because I love an anthology. Like we've said, you've got old favourites and new favourites. But I also tell people who, you know, you read in book club groups and stuff, people's like, oh, I've struggled to get back into reading. And I remember when I first went to university and I did my English degree way back in the dark ages, I had to read all this stuff that I didn't want to read. for 3 years. Technically 4 because I did my master's afterwards. And I just struggled to get back into finding what I wanted to read and what my tastes were at that point of having spent 4 years reading so much other stuff. And I just devoured anthologies because it meant I could find like authors I knew I'd already previously liked, but then it meant I could find those new ones, and it got my love of reading back and stirred, and it reminded me what I do and what I don't like and how my tastes has changed and evolved from having to take that time out for my education to read, because you had to read so much, and at the time audiobooks were not as easy to get hold of, and they were all abridged, so it's not as if I could just plug my ears in and then read the books that way and be done with like 3 years worth of reading in a week. It didn't happen. It was cassette tapes. If anybody knows what a cassette tape is. Ancient relic cassette tape.
I listened to Sabriel on cassette tapes.
Oh, wow.
Wow. It was quite a visceral experience.
I do own one single cassette tape, which I have used as a prop. It's got nothing on it, but I've used it as a prop for photos. Usually with Scully Joe involved, because I can't remember why he was going, no. I think it was something to do with Amy's.
It probably was.
It sounds like something I would have done, like some 90s reference has taken Scully Joe down a dark path. But
yeah, he likes to pose for Amy's books. So yeah, I'm going to pick anthology.
Okay. Let's move on to our next question. This one matches up very nicely with Rosie's story. Would you rather lure your friend into the woods to give to the Fae, or bash them with a hammer so they can't be taken away? A sexy hammer.
I mean, now you've said sexy hammer. I don't know.
Makes all the difference. Yeah.
So, Rosie, how are you going to answer?
I mean, I feel like I'd have to pick the first one and lure my friend into the woods, because at least they'd have a chance. Maybe. You know, I've lured them into the woods, but maybe they get away. I don't know. Or as if I'm preemptively bashing them with a hammer just, you know, so they can't be taken, then it's definitely a sad ending for them. And for all I know, they might want to be holed up in a kind of underground, creepy, internal tree-like structure with mushrooms and saplings growing through their body as they slowly waste away for the next 20 years to feed the forest. That could have been their dream. And who am I to take that away from them? You know?
Don't take their dream away with your sexy hammer.
Exactly. Plus, I'm pretty sure that because my joints are really bad, if I hit someone in the head with a hammer, I am going to dislocate my shoulder, and it does hurt.
It's just not worth it.
So there's that too.
Amy, how do you answer this question?
I agree with Rosie. I was thinking about giving them a chance. And as well, you didn't say what kind of fae. So Rosie's type of fae, terrifying, but it could be like the sexy Sarah J. Maas fae, right? So that I would totally go for. You can throw me into the woods.
Oh, you can tell she's played Would You Rather before.
Yeah,
she's learning.
I was so bad when I first started. Like, Rosie won't know this. But they would ask me questions like, which Vampire Diaries hottie would you want? And I was like, well, I think that the teacher could probably get a mortgage, so I'd probably marry him. And they're like, you don't want to start this game.
That's a very sensible answer, and I appreciate it.
I know, all of them are so sensible. And they were like, yeah, but would you like to be a vampire? And would you turn your child into a vampire? I was like, well, I'd wait till he's 18 and we'd sit down and have a conversation with him. They were like, maybe you're playing this game wrong.
Because consent is important.
Yes. See, Kev's told me. Kev is really good at answering the would you rather questions on social media. And slowly I've read his ridiculous responses and started to internalize and figure out how to.
But his usually involves me.
He's good. Kev really thinks outside the box. Like he makes a whole new box, I think, sometimes with his answers.
And they usually involve the bodily fluid.
Like he hasn't progressed from his 7-year-old humor, which I think you two appreciate.
We do. We really, really do.
On the inside, we've got the maturity of a 12-year-old.
Yeah. I often say that I'm 12 on the inside. It's true. It is true.
No, you often say you're dead on the inside. Get it right.
Oh, yeah. I am dead inside. You're right. You're right. I take it back.
Dead
I'm a creepy dead child on the inside. And I've called the Mary Lloyd to come
I'm abandoning you to the Mary Lloyd. I am aware. I'm going to take the
Amanda's
Mars
running
bar
into
and
the
going to
woods
eat it in
too.
the closet.
Like, you don't need to be sacrificed, do you, Amanda? You would just be in the like Amanda would already be there. I'll be sacrificed this year. I'm here.
Yeah, hi, let's go.
I honestly would love to just like have a movie night, you know, a few drinks, some snacks with the Mary Lloyd. I think they're underappreciated.
Can you imagine if the Mary Lloyd like knocked on the door and then we opened it and it was just Amy's party? We're like, we've been attacked! I feel so appreciated and loved.
I think Mary Lloyd would be really keen to then get into it. Like, I think they'd have a good time.
Well, I think they have a great time. I think party of the century.
Yeah.
This
I'm
needs
so
to
drawn
happen.
These Welsh names gave me some trouble when I was reading. I'm really bad at reading names, and I didn't pronounce it like that when I was reading it. I don't remember what I thought. And the same with your characters, Dawn. I think I got those names quite badly wrong.
I just ask Kat. I
Yeah.
do it wrong all the time because I just read stuff. I never speak. So the Kat, can you help me? Went into the room.
I'm just like, yeah, close enough. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so Kat, how do you answer this question? Are you going to lure your friend or bash him with a hammer?
I would lure my friend because I can't see any positives to bashing with a hammer. Also, I would very much get in trouble for doing that. Whereas if I just lured them into the forest and sort of sent them on their way with Faye, maybe they'll have a good time, maybe they die and get all mushroomy, but that's not really on me. Whereas hammer, definitely on me.
And getting rid of a body is actually really hard. So
Says
I
the
say
voice of
is it?
experience.
I like that. I
Is
like
it,
that answer right now.
Rosie?
wait, there's a lot of fluids in there, and they're heavy, and which is why most murdered bodies are found within a certain distance of a road because access is an issue, and that's how people get caught for dispatching humans. Is
I'm
humans
learning
get
things
rid of
about
once-
you.
I love how with an author you cannot tell whether or not they've planned the murder themselves and executed it, or it's pure Google style research.
It's
Sure,
always
this is
the
air of
first lead.
mystique.
Doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I did a law degree. I don't think there's a law that says that you can't like leave somebody in the woods to be like put into a tree by the Fae. So I think you're probably fine if you do that. Like hitting people with a hammer, bad. You know, if you said to the police, you know, I left them in the woods for the Fae to eat, I think you'd probably be okay. You might be institutionalized, but you'd
I
be
was about to say, you might be locked up either way.
yeah, different kind of locked.
It's true.
Reckless abandonment.
Yeah, as long as it's like the cushy kind of locked up, I'd go with that one.
Yeah, sure. You're all snuggly in your straitjacket. It's fine. Dawn, how do you answer?
Same answer, but purely because I think it's comedy gold. He'd be like, Dawn, wait, where are you going? And I'd be trying a tree and I'd be like, peekaboo. And off. It's just comedy gold.
Doing it
And
for
also
the
because
lol.
I, you know, all the stuff you guys said.
Wait, so is your answer genuinely? I'd lure my friends into the woods to give them to the Fae for the lols. Is that?
Yeah,
Okay, just checking.
absolutely.
If you invite me on a winter walk, my answer is no. I'm not going.
I don't think anyone would walk with us at this
There are
point.
woods
Like I
behind
think
my
we've just
house.
we've just ruined it, and nobody wants to spend any time with us now.
No, but they don't know that we're all walking into the woods to sing Journey and eat snacks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are the dangerous things in the wood. We are the
Yeah.
weirdos.
We are. We are.
What's that? For the craft quote, we are the weirdos, mister.
Indeed.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Well,
yes.
Nancy. Welcome.
Claire, are you also gonna lure your friend into the woods? Like everybody else? Are you finally bashing someone with a hammer? Am I gonna be the only one bashing someone with a hammer?
No, I was going to bash people with a hammer. They can lure themselves. The Fae do a fine enough job luring people in. They don't need any help, you know. But people do need a hammer to the head sometimes because, you know, we've said it many times on Fictional Hangover. Sometimes you got to slap a bitch. Sometimes you got to hammer someone to the head, especially if it's a sexy hammer.
Right?
And you know
It's the sexy hammer for me.
And that's what we're getting in the comments as well, Amanda. We have Annie saying sexy hammer. Bree, give them. Oh no, Bree is going to give them to the Fae. Let the supernatural creatures do all the work. And Drew, she's going to let them meet the Fae because she will feel less bad. Annie, sexy hammer because it's sexy. Oh,
Right?
We all need to get hammers now.
We
only
do.
get
We're just gonna all
Sexy
pose.
hammers.
I thought you
think
were going
it's
to say
a
we all
good
need
idea.
to get hammered now, Dawn. I was
That
like,
too.
I mean, also,
I read this
yes,
before.
fabulous.
That's also
One
fun.
leads to the other, I feel.
Yeah. All right.
Next,
What-
would you rather?
Next one.
Would you rather be crammed into a tiny box or be tied to a chair with a spider on your face?
All right.
Neither. Sorry, everyone. I tried to think of like the worst things. And Mia still hasn't read the spider scene, even though she co-curated anthology with me, because that's one of her particular things she doesn't like. So I could have written anything in that, and Mia approved it because she didn't want to read that scene.
So what are you gonna pick, Amy? You got to. You did it. It's your
I'm
fault.
gonna pick the nice little cozy cupboard I'd get in there, like torch, book. It may be crushing me slightly, but it's fine. Spider crawling into my orifices, no. Cozy reading space, yeah, fine. I'd go with the cozy cupboard. I don't really have claustrophobia, and having a small child, that's helpful because he does squeeze in some places. Like we went to Forbidden Corner and there's a tunnel thing which is not meant for adults, and I ended up in it crawling after 3-year-old just in case he got stuck or like popped out somewhere miles away from me. So yeah, he's tested my claustrophobia to limits. So yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, Kat, what about you?
I would have to go with spider on the face because even though I don't particularly like spiders, I feel like I would be okay just being like, get off. Whereas I don't enjoy claustrophobic spaces ever since watching Aliens and the bishop crawling through that little tube thing. No. So yeah, being confined in a very tight space would send me off the deep end a lot quicker than a little spider.
Okay, Rosie, how about you?
I'm also going to go for the spider. I actually quite like spiders. So I mean, I don't think being tied to a chair while one is on my face would be my favorite way to say hello, but I'm going to be fine. And I think, I don't particularly get claustrophobia, but my body does hurt all the time. And I think being in a box would just be painful for me. So I'm going to go for the spider because I'm just like, hi, friend. Hopefully it doesn't bite me. Hopefully it thinks I'm a friend.
Okay,
Yeah,
Dawn, what about you?
I'm the same as Rosie. I'm fine with spiders and small. I'm actually a claustrophiliac because I like small spaces, but I'm not as bendy as I once was. So I think spider. I like spiders. I have one. She's dead and encased in amber, but her name's Arain because she is an Arain. I think I'm cleverer than I am.
That's precious.
Say it with confidence and it works.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
Claire?
fake it till you make it.
I like Rosie and Dawn, I cannot bend. I used to be able to, but the last couple of years my body has failed me. I miss doing yoga.
Am I the only one who would get into a small box?
No, I'm going to get in the box too. I'm getting in the box.
Amy, it's the fact that I physically can't, otherwise I would. Because honestly, if I could have it like a casket instead, if you want to put me in a coffin, then I'll do that because at least I can stretch out and I'll have a nap. Because I too am a parent, but I too appreciate a nap. Just give it 20 minutes quiet in a dark space. Perfect.
Yeah, Rosie interviewed me at Camp YA, and I think all of my answers, to the kind of fantastical questions, were all just like based on being a parent and needing sleep or needing somewhere quiet and comfy to sit down. Everybody else was like spaceship in the sky. I'm like quiet hole in the ground, wrapped in a blanket.
Yeah,
I'm with you
like
there.
a nap.
See,
I went. All my answers just led to naps.
I went on a ghost hunt to Jedburgh Jail, and they went, "Oh, and what we'll do is we'll put everybody into a cell by yourselves." And I was like, "Oh, will there be a seat?" They went, "Huh?" And I turned to my friend. I went, "I'm having a nap." It was lovely. It was a really sweet 20 minutes, just chilling in a cell. Nothing happened.
Completely get it with you.
Just nice
100%.
and quiet. Oh.
No weird whispering in your ear.
Nah, took a few pictures, got some, had my digi recorder up. Nothing happened. I just chilled. It was quite nice.
It's just the wind.
It's just the wind.
It's just the wind. Don't worry about
I'd
it.
had a curry before going as well,
wind.
so it could have actually been a gurgling stomach, so who knows?
The wind gets blamed for so much. I must be so tired of it all by now.
Come on.
They're gonna blame me again.
I would
Amanda,
really
do
love.
you-
I'm definitely getting in the box, but I don't want a spider on my face. I don't like that. I
There's
would
too
like.
many holes on faces.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Scared of a spider going in somewhere that.
Yeah.
Ear.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I know
You see
somebody
this
who
TikTok
collects
videos of
spiders.
people
He
getting
has
spiders
hundreds of
removed?
them, and he said spiders are not friendly creatures. He won't let other people handle them because they've got no memory. They're not a pet, like in the traditional sense that they don't, they're not there to be handled, and they cannot be domesticated. And having a spider on your freaking face, nah, it's gonna lay eggs on you.
Yeah, and then they're just gonna come out at a
It's going to
random
find the warm
time.
places, isn't it, to lay the eggs too? So it's
Yeah.
going to go nostril, ear, mouth.
But if
Yeah.
it's a big tarantula, it's not going to get in there. Then
I
you
can't
know.
breathe through my nose. It's gonna go in my mouth. You have to think about these things.
I never
Okay,
said
but
how big the
what
bug
if you
was
were in
either,
the box and then someone put the spider in the box?
No,
No,
Yeah.
there is no
no,
option
there's a
C.
spider in my box.
That's
Or like
what
that
I
from Hook. Okay, I don't know have you ever seen Hook, like with Robin Williams?
Yeah.
Right, it's
Yeah.
a kids movie, and then there's just a pirate who gets put in the boo box, which is just a box, and then they drop scorpions in it.
Mhm.
No,
Traumatized me as a child, tell you that now.
One of the greatest movies ever made. We do have some responses in the comments, people. Bree, chair with spider, make it a tarantula, the friends. Annie, no spiders! Sharon, I'd kiss the spider. Drew, I'll be in the box. Coral, depends on the spider. Annie's going to beat the hell out of them with a shoe, even when they're tiny. And if the husband is home, he's called to take care of them. And now they're just planning on building a tree fort. And Lydia, chair with a spider on my face. No, chair with a spider. Yeah, I thought I was a chair on her face there. No, it's a spider on her face. I need my glasses on.
okay. So let's move on to our next question. Let's see. Would you rather babysit a creepy kid or hear a stranger whispering your name? Kat, this one's all yours. So how are you going to answer?
Well, I would prefer not to babysit the creepy kid, and you always have the possibility, the hope that the stranger whispering your name could be someone hot. So I'll go with that one.
Ew.
Okay, Dawn, how do you answer this one?
I think the creepy kid, because if you hear a creepy thing whispering your name, you don't know if you've gone round the bend, and there's no one there to check with. So creepy kid, I could just lock him in a cupboard and then eat popcorn.
Like any good babysitter.
Yeah, like I'm strong. Get away from it, just pick it up, put it in the thing. Feed it
Never heard
cards.
Harry Potter comment.
Yeah. Crash and go to sleep. You know?
Mars bar under the door.
That's why I keep referring to the creepy kid as it.
Dawn sounds like the perfect babysitter. All is fine.
Amy, how do you answer?
I was a teacher for 10 years and I have a 3-year-old, so creepy kid would be no problem. I feel like I could handle a creepy kid. I've been there and done that.
All right, Rosie, what about you?
I don't want to be responsible for keeping a child alive, no matter whether they're creepy or not. So I'm going to go for the creepy voice because, I mean, I don't know, maybe they just have a breathing problem and they're not trying to be creepy, they're just trying to communicate, you know, or maybe it's a ghost who just wants to hang out and it's like, hey, I'm a bit bored and spectral. Do you want to chill? We could watch a bit of Netflix, play Xbox. I'm not that I have an Xbox, but I could get one and it would be great, or I could read to them. Or, you know, I also feel like creepy voices are generally easier to avoid and just ignore than any children ever. But yeah, I'm going to go for weird, whispery, creepy voice.
Same. I don't want to babysit a child. I don't care. I mean, I do like creepy kids. Like I said earlier, I am a creepy, 12-year-old dead inside, but I don't want to do that. I would rather hear a stranger whispering my name. That would be very creepy too, but in a different way, in a better way, I think. I don't want to bother with a kid. I don't.
I just worry that the kid wouldn't survive me because I worry for their well-being and I don't want to be responsible for the well-being for very long in case I get it wrong.
Oh, my
I would
treat.
argue in this instance, fuck that kid.
Rose is lovely with my 3-year-old. I would trust you with a child. Rose.
I love kids. I absolutely love spending time with kids, but it's just the idea of being solely responsible for the well-being of another human being under the age of 10 terrifies me.
Do you know,
Who's trying to
children's birthdays are
sacrifice you?
celebrated- Children's birthdays are celebrated not because the child is getting a year older, it's because the parents have kept them alive for another year. That's why.
Basically a miracle.
I to quote one of the greatest philosophers of the modern age, Beyonce, say my name, say my name.
That was very good. That was very good.
We have some comments as well. Coral, no kid! Bree, he the stranger, maybe it's a new friend. You're stuck with the creepy kid. Lydia, babysit a creepy kid and help them be creepier. Yeah, show them some
Ooh.
horror movies. Let's disturb the shit out of them.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
That is a
Annie,
good
14-year-old me, had to babysit, hence choosing to be child-free. And Drew, I think I could handle the creepy child because it seems more creepy to have a stranger whispering my name. And Sharon, creepy kid, they're small enough to throw towards the whisperer. Yeet.
You're sacrificing
you
the
can
kid
eat.
this time.
Yeet the kid, but you can't yeet the whisper.
Yeet the kid.
You can't eat a whisper.
Dawn Kurtagich 2023.
Oh, okay. Let's do our last would you rather question.
Oh, would you rather be Arwen or Afric? Sorry
This
for
is such a
pronunciation.
tricky one too, because you either have to trick somebody to being essentially trapped in royal duties for their entire life, or to just devouring people, but at least you get a good meal.
Oh,
Maybe
that
that
one. That
I
one.
like food. I like
food.
That one. Also, I like the idea of dragging someone up a chimney into my watery realm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
A
think
1,000 times yes.
Yeah. I mean, clearly you as well, because you are currently in Avank, so
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Not the beaver crocodile version though. So
it's
thank
so
goodness.
funny. If you guys
Shame.
Google Avank, you get the cutest, funniest pictures of half a beaver, half a crocodile.
They're
So-
precious. I'm just glad yours was much creepier.
I
in
want to
that case,
stop the
that's my
version.
answer. Can I be the cute, creepy crocodile beaver version? Like, that's my answer to the question. Yeah, I'm gonna be one of those. Like, you think you've summoned this horrible demon, and I just pop up like, "Hello, I just want to know."
Depends if you get the beaver in the front or the beaver
Oh
in the back.
yeah,
Which bit's the
yeah.
beaver and which bit's the crocodile?
yeah.
I think the crocodile is usually the front and the with the beaver tail. So it's essentially a crocodile with a beaver tail.
I'm
Oh,
still
it's
going
so
for that.
cute.
Yeah, I'll be the crocodile beaver. That's fine. That's my answer. I maintain. I stick with it.
Oh, okay, Kat, what about you?
Yeah, I think I would also be the Avank. Sharp teeth, eat what you like, go where you want, drag people up to, watery chimney deaths. That's really all I want in life.
Valid.
That's all any of us ever want. Rosie, are you being a beaver crocodile too?
I mean, when you put it like that, how can I resist? As long as instead of we split the beaver and crocodile down the middle, like head tail, we go like down the middle. One side beaver, one side crocodile. I feel like that's way more horrific. I don't know. I want the option where I get my own watery realm. Because
What can you do with both?
it could be great. You could do landscaping, hold court, get them to make little underwater villavoms for you. It'd be great. And then you just eat stuff.
Restore coral reef, do some good for the world.
Oh, that's amazing.
Creep people out in old houses by making it like damper on the walls and be like, ha, you just painted that spot. Have an annoying damp patch. And then just and then drag them up the chimney. Sounds great.
So
I
basically,
feel like
comedy
we could
gold.
blame you for the current weather situation because that's happening right now across the country.
I know. I just painted my wall, and I'm like, oh crap. We just moved not that long ago, so we're discovering all of the fun little damp patches. And I'm like, oh no.
Is there anyone behind your wall? Did you check?
Yeah.
I mean, I knocked and somebody knocked back, and then I remembered it's a terraced house. So
Uh,
I was like, oh, okay, it was just my neighbor.
Yeah.
You see, that's one of the
Probably.
creepiest things for me. Something in walls. I do not like things in walls. Ugh.
Well, they're okay if they
Ugh.
stay in the wall. So if they decide to reach out of the wall with weird plasticated hands to grab
There was a
you.
there was a movie that I watched when I was too young to watch it, when I like single digits, and it had a witch in a wall, and I cannot remember what this movie was, but it was freaking terrifying. And there was a witch in the wall, and that I watched Child's Play, laughed. You know, all those original old school horrors, fine, but this freaking witch in this freaking
rings a
wall
bell.
scared the shit out of me. And it's like, ever since then, I do not like things in walls.
I need to know what that film was. It rings a bell.
If I knew what it was, I would rewatch it just to see if it still creeped me out, and it probably would not. I'll probably laugh at it instead. But yeah, do not like things in walls.
Did you answer this one, Claire?
Munchins and scrunchins. I'm in
No.
it for the food.
Okay, good. Do we
We've
have
got-
any comments?
We do. Sharon, oh, that's a creepy kid. Bree's gonna yeet the child, so I should have had that one in there. Sharon is gonna be the queen of the underworld, of course. Bree, make me the ruler of the underworld, friend of all the ghosties. And Drew, I want to be the cute beaver buddy. I feel like if you're gonna be the ruler of the underworld, you're gonna have a beaver buddy.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
With
of course.
X teeth, though.
With
You
the
need-
Bullivons, the underwater Bullivons.
With the underwater Bullivons. Master, would you like a Bullivant? Yeah, I can.
Oh my
Mushroom and
goodness.
prawn.
Okay, so that was the end of Would You Rather. And now we've got a couple of other questions, and like, this is taking we've already been at this for like an hour, so we might have to cut some of our millions of questions short. But we do need to know, Amy, how was it curating your anthology? And everyone else, how did you react when you were asked to participate?
It was so good. It started as a text message. Mia and I message each other nearly every day. And I just said, hey, have you ever thought, I think Mia said, like, we should write a book together. And I was like, I've always wanted to do an anthology. Should we do that? And Mia was like, me writing a YA horror story? Sure, why not? You know, that's not exactly what she's known for. Turns out she's terrifying at it, terrifyingly good. And it was so nice. Like, literally the reactions of everybody was just really positive and excited. Mia and our two agents all tried to like dampen my excitement a little, because I tend to get carried away, and they were like, it might not get published, anthologies are hard to sell, you know, just manage your expectations. I was like, it will, look at the people we've got, it's going to be great. And I was right, you know, I told you so in a big way, I feel. And then the stories just kept rolling in, and Mira and I read them as they arrived, and we got the pictures initially, which is what we sold the anthology on. And then when the stories arrived, they were all just so good. It was so exciting. Like, you know, can you imagine telling one of your friends, actually, you need to work on it? Like, nobody had to have an awkward conversation. It was so great. And then seeing it as a book, like, I read them in bits, and then I got to, when it was put together, that first read through was just amazing. And we'd figured out kind of an abstract order. Scholastic gave an order, and then we moved a couple of stories around. We wanted Rosie's first. We just decided that would be a good note to start on. And we put yours together, Dawn and Kat? I think we were like, there was a certain like Welsh thread through those that we wanted to follow. So we moved a couple, and we put synthesis at the end. That was the main three things that Mia and I changed. So yeah, it was just really fun. Like, the whole idea of working with a group of our friends. Normally you write a book on your own, and it's quite, you know, you lament stuff to your friends. Like Rosie and I have both been in like editing on repeat for this whole year, and I mean, and it's nice to have those shared conversations, but it's not the same as actually like we've produced this thing together and we sit and get to talk about it together. It's just a really lovely thing. I don't think I quite realized how amazing it was going to be to sit and do events with my friends like about this thing we've made together. It's just really lovely, all of it. I'll shut up now. I really love doing this anthology.
So Rosie, since yours was first, like, how did you feel about that?
Well, I never expected my story to even be in an anthology. You know, I had such an unusual publishing journey, so I think I was the last author to come on board. I think 16 Sold had just been picked up by Scholastic and published, and I had a very excited message in my inbox from Amy saying like, so I know it's a bit late notice, but would you be interested? And I was like, yes, I am incredibly flattered. And I feel like I was a little bit at an advantage because obviously everybody else had kind of written their pitches. So to give me a sense of what the anthology was going to be, I did get to read everybody's pitches before I came up with mine. And so I was just reading through these pitches. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to read these stories. They are going to be incredible. And then I had a little bit of like imposter syndrome and was like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? But it was so much fun writing something just unexpected and different from other projects. It's kind of like this fun little break from all the other stress of being on deadline to just do this wonderful like adventure horror anthology. It was brilliant. Yeah.
You were such a trooper, Rosie, as well. Like everything, like we'd all done stuff, and Rosie, but it was like, oh, can you write a pitch like really quickly, like tomorrow or whatever, and like a story, can you write it super quickly too? And Rosie would just like kept churning it all out. She was great. Yeah, because I think when I had the idea, it was so like embarrassingly long ago. It took us so long to pull this thing together. And Rosie's book wasn't even. I think you were still probably writing it and like didn't know what it was going to be at that point. So like Rosie didn't even. Sorry, Rosie, but you like didn't factor into my original decision making. And then as we were putting the final list together, we got this one space and we were like, oh, who? And I went, Rosie, please, can we have Rosie? And luckily she said yes. And the rest is history.
It's amazing. So did everyone write new stories?
Yep.
Nobody dusted off anything old?
Nope. Everybody. We gave them a very brief thing that Mia wrote very beautifully. It was like you could write a local legend, something. And it was very like, very, very open, and it just said at the end, we want you to scare us. And Rosie was, I remember you said like challenge accepted. I'm going to really try and scare you, and I think that's just what everybody did. I like the fact that everybody lent into what they were really interested in. Like I think you can open any of the stories and get a real flavor of what the author's about. Like even people like Rachel, whose story is totally different from what she writes quite often, you just still get to see so much of her flair. And like Louis, it's her first YA story. And you just get such a taste of Louis' like personality as a writer and a humor and a playfulness. I just think everybody did a great job.
So which of the stories kind of like creeped you out then? If you were being spooked as they were coming through, was there anyone that stood out that you were like, oh no?
I have to say, I was sitting in my living room reading Cats and looking at my glass doors like, Cat, you've just ruined my house for me. Because I used to be a babysitter too, and I did have those moments of really sitting there on my own and being really creeped out and hearing a noise and thinking it's the child and going up and it isn't the child. And you're like, oh shit, what is this noise? And go around the house trying to work it out. So I've been there. So I think I really just put myself in that situation, and that's a real sweet spot for me. Stories that are very grounded in reality with this just step in another direction. I loved all of the stories, but that one I think messed with my head the most because I just could really put myself in it as that babysitter. So
I'm so pleased.
I knew you would be, Kat. I just knew. Like you're happy when you scare people. That's like I think you and Dawn are so similar in that regard. I think this is a nice like grouping the four of us because I think that like you two are both known for being really scary, and you did that. Personally, and in what you create. And then Rosie and I have this like cozy dimension to our writing too. So I think this was a nice selection. Fictional Hangover. You did very well. Like the kind of types of horror that we go for.
I feel like that's challenge accepted for Rosie to be a bit more creepy in the future.
Oh, she terrified with the short story. She terrified me. It has to be said. Like I was really, really scared in those bits where they're running through the woods. Like at one bit I did because my heart was really racing. I just had to pause and like, and then pick it back up and carry on, which I think is a good sign that you actually gave me a visceral reaction.
Okay, so Kat, if Amy was scared by yours, which one did you kind of go, oh no, heebies and jeebies?
Yeah, I got a little something out of every single one, I have to say. It was a really scary collection, and I was so pleased when I read them all, and I was like, yes. I was so glad to be a part of it. I think two spring to mind, other than ours. Cynthia's with the creepy, waxworky type mannequin. That freaked me out. Mannequins are generally quite weird anyway, so that story did. And also Mel's, the one with the flowers, St. Clover. Anything sort of choking on something that's not supposed to be in your windpipe. generally is a freak out point for me. So yeah, that one definitely did scare me a bit.
Yeah. Dawn, you put people in walls. Can anything in this anthology give you the creeps?
Mostly they just intrigued me and made me want more. I remember I was actually reading Amy's and thinking, this is so unfair. Like, I want a full book. Like, God damn you, Amy, can you write this, please? I want more. I want more rooms with creepy things. I want more characters. And also, I want more of the house. The house was so interesting. I have a thing with houses anyway, and also a thing with teeth, same as Amanda.
I really want to write like a flash forward and backwards of how this family got into this situation, because some of it, I don't really know. I'd have to dig a little bit deeper to find out. I only know for this, like, what's actually, I know a little bit more than is in the story, but not a lot. I would like to dig. I think that all of them, Dawn, you're right. Like, literally all of them I could see just with a little bit of fleshing out. Like,
yeah. But also you could do like a Mina-esque group of friends where the stakes get higher because maybe one of them doesn't come out quite right, or like, and also the history of the house. Maybe they can learn where this all started from, because we don't really know how this began. So I was really intrigued by that.
oh, thanks.
Please write it.
Yeah, Rosie, what
I'm
about
just nodding, like, if you all want more, like, I'm just going to show this to Scholastic and just say, look, please.
Yes.
The people want it.
Caught away. Fictional Hangover is very quotable. Rosie, what about you? What was the creepiest story for you?
Okay, so I apologize quickly for my distractedness. My cat is being a dick. Scratching on your sofa. She's being very naughty. And I just threw my socks at her, so sorry about that. It did not deter her in the slightest. It's Captain Haddock. She's a knob. And I love her, but she is. But so I think there's something really unsettling about every single one of the stories. And the ones that weren't, I think there were some that I actually found like fun unsettling. But the one that kind of made me go, ugh, was the St. Clover. And I think with St. Clover, it's because it was the inevitability of it. That with some of the stories, there was this hope, right? You're reading through and you're thinking, but maybe they'll escape. Maybe something else will happen. And then with St. Clover, you learn very quickly that she was doomed from the moment she spoke. She was doomed. And nothing she did after that would have saved her. And that felt so chilling. And also how it changed her behavior and how she started to fade to people around her. So, she ended up not even fighting back. She just accepted that fate of kind of lying down and being still. And so it had all these threads of losing your sense of self, losing your ability to defend yourself, both mentally and physically. And then yet anything like, I think ever since I read House of Hollow, I just love anything to do with creepy, rotting flowers and girls. That kind of just vibes for me. So yeah, I think that was the story. I was like, ooh, okay. I mean, maybe I shan't read this one before bed again.
That's such a trend right now, or I feel like in the past couple of years in publishing, like every creepy book has a creepy face being devoured by flowers.
Which I'm not mad about, and I
No.
actually decided I'm rearranging my bookshelves when I move all my books to this new house, and I'm gonna just have my creepy girls shelf, and it's just gonna be all the books I have with creepy girls on the cover, because that should just be a genre.
Yes,
right.
I think we actually have a book theme next year.
we do.
Based purely on those covers.
We do.
Yes.
We do.
I think the first book I saw with that creepy flower thing was Wilder Girls.
Oh, that one was good.
Oh,
yeah. And Horrid by Katrina Leno. Oh,
yeah. I think that came after.
Yeah, that one's really good too, though.
Yeah.
And even back in the day, like, I feel like, I know it's not flowers, but Sawkill Girls with the moths was very that kind of vibe. Yeah.
I recreated both of those, Sawkill Girls and Wilder Girls. It's so funny. They're just so recreatable.
Oh, okay. So, I think we should. Some of our other questions that we had planned to ask, we've really already covered throughout our Would You Rathers and just our discussion about each of your stories. So I really think that we should just move on and talk about Halloween for a little bit and see what scary movies everyone has been watching recently. Kat, what have you watched anything good?
I have. I've been watching quite a few scary Halloween horror films lately. Last night I went to see Five Nights at Freddy's, and I really loved it. I went in with such low expectations, but I really like Josh Hutcherson anyway as an actor. I think he's fantastic because he can play sort of creepy roles, but also funny roles really well. And both skill sets kind of came into this one, and the animatronic creatures in Freddy's were just brilliant and scary as hell. There were some loose threads there, but I imagine they're going to do a sequel, so I didn't mind too much. And the night before that, I watched Talk to Me, which has just come on Netflix in the UK, with the mummified hand. So if you hold it and say "Talk to me," you're then speaking to a spirit, and you let it in, and it's like not a good spirit. So yeah, that was really scary. So enjoyed that one.
Oh, that one was so good. I haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's, but the way it looks like and the way people describe it, it sounds like I think it's called Willy's Wonderland with Nick Cage. Has anybody seen that?
No.
You should all go watch that. Like, I don't think he says a word in the entire movie, but he's just bashing the shit out of monsters in an old arcade. So everyone needs to
It's
go and
not
watch
quite
that.
Five Nights at Freddy's actually makes you care. It's weird. It's weird. But it's actually, for once, a very good game adaptation to movie. It's for there's such a rare thing. But I saw it yesterday, and it was fun. It was inoffensive. It was obvious, but it was a trip.
It was a really fun watch. Yeah.
Anybody else watch anything good lately?
I went to see The Nun too, and that was just unintentionally funny. I was just laughing in the cinema the whole time.
So not scary.
Not scary at all, no. I found the first one scary. I loved it, but the second one is just so funny. You could probably play a drinking game with it. It's that kind of funny.
Ooh, I need to watch that one.
I rewatched The Witch recently. Just because it's so perfect and it's so slow burn, and I love the costumes and I love everything cinematically about it. And I know it's not everybody's favorites because some people find it too slow, but I love that sense of creeping dread.
Me too. And every still is like an oil painting. The cinematography in that film is
so
gorgeous.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Rosie, you and I are on the same vibe. No one I know
I'm halfway
that
through
film.
Talk to Me. I started Talk to Me earlier this evening, actually, so I'm about a third of the way in. And I'm enjoying it so far. I'm hopefully going to finish it tonight, maybe. We'll see. Depends on how late it gets and how scared I get.
I'll tell you what movie I watched, Amanda, that I know somebody here probably still hasn't watched, even though it was a homework that we've already given them several times. The Frighteners.
Where are you watching it? Because I've literally
It's on Amazon, Amy. Get yourself in gear and watch it.
Okay, I'll pay for it. I'm cheap.
So good.
I keep trying to watch it for free. I will pay for it for you.
Fictional Hangover will pay for you to watch The Frighteners.
No, that should be my Halloween film, really. I was just sitting here feeling sorry for myself because, I mean, I've probably complained to all of you about this before. The only time of day that I write is in the evening, which is also my TV time. And my TV time this year has been so minimal because editing the anthology and then this other thing I've decided I'm having to really carefully not talk about.
It's fine.
It isn't anything yet.
The internet.
So it's a good thing. I think it broke up when I was just nearly talking about something that I don't want to talk about yet. So that's fine. The internet helped me. So I basically edited 3 things this year, and I would just think that I was going to get a break and then the other one would come back. I just took that time. So nothing scary. I was just going to show you all. I'm reading this book at the minute, so it's quite short. That's the main reason I picked it up. I've not read any Rachel Harrison books before. I wouldn't say it's super scary. It is classed as horror, but it's 4 stories, and it's about different aspects of sort of being a woman. And it's things like there's a bachelorette party, there's like just different stuff to do with different aspects of what it is to be a woman, and they're really good stories. Quite creepy. One is a girl who doesn't know how to make decisions, and she gets this magic 8 ball from a creepy flea market and lets it make her decisions for her. So it's fun in places, it's dark in places. So yeah, mainly I've been reading good creepy stuff. I also read 12 Bones recently, which was excellent. That was my first spooky season read. And one of the only things I've managed to read this month. So I managed to get my Rosie fix in. But yeah, sadly, there's no scary TV or films really this year. Apart from I did start watching Goosebumps, but I'm watching it in such small doses that I think we've watched about 2 episodes, and it's quite good. I'm enjoying it on the Disney Channel, wherever it is, the new Goosebumps series.
TV wise, has anybody been watching Interview with the Vampire, the new BBC series? Because I watched the whole thing and loved it.
It's on my list of things. I really need to watch it.
Yeah, it is so good. I really loved it, and I'm glad they're getting the second season.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Oh my gosh, I'm really excited for the second season. I just think they did such justice to the world and the characters, but they still did their own thing with it, but not so much their own thing that you're going to kind of get annoyed that it's so far from the book. It's not unrecognizable at all. It's that perfect balance between this is something fresh, but also very much recognizable from the source material. It's cinematically beautiful. The script is beautiful. The acting is incredible. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
I need to. I'm hoping it gets a second series because it's just.
It is.
It's a state of. It is. Thank goodness, because it's just TV series is like I don't have a lot of time to watch TV, and I don't want to invest myself into something that is not going to continue. And thank goodness, I'll watch it for the second series.
What about What We Do in the Shadows?
The 5th season's just come onto Disney. I can finally watch it. I'm so happy.
Again, I haven't had time to watch it. It's not, again, I've got this real long list of stuff that I want to watch. Generally, it's vampire things. So yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, Into the Vampire. I'm just, eventually, I won't be editing a book, I hope. I also want to keep editing books. So yeah, it's a bit of a vicious cycle right now.
All vampires all the time.
All vampires all the time. Yes. That's all Fictional Hangover is. So what's everyone's Halloween plans? Anybody doing anything fun? Editing?
No, I'm doing a book event. So it's editing peripheral. But yeah, I'm doing an event with loads of cool authors. Laura Stephen and Ravina Grant and Mia and Tommy, who wrote this book. It's somewhere. I'm reading it. I'm trying to read all their books before Tuesday and failing miserably. So yeah, on Halloween night, I'm in Nottingham doing a book event. So that'll be nice. A bit different.
Nottingham's lovely.
The Changing Man. Thank you, Kev. I'm so bad at book names.
Anybody else have plans?
Halloween's on a Tuesday. It's like, open the door to children who are going to go trick-or-treating.
I really hope we get some trick-or-treaters. I bought lots of sweets, and we went. I've got pumpkins that I still need to carve, but I also really need to finish up my edits of my next project. So it's going to be simultaneously trying to carve pumpkins, get all my work done, and maybe make pumpkin pie. Because I love pumpkin pie. So I did get enough edible ones. I can make some pumpkin pie as well.
That's good.
Yeah, but next year, we haven't decorated very much because we've just moved in. But next year, I want to go all out. Some of the houses in our area have really gone for it. So I want to plan ahead. Will I? I don't know. We'll see if I have the time, but I will try.
I've just finished reading Mayfly. And if you haven't read that one, she's got some very good Halloween decorations. So if you need some inspiration, you should read Mayfly.
Okay.
CJ Lead, you need to read that one.
Is it going to get me arrested?
Well, it depends. I mean, how good are you?
I mean, wait, how much arts and craft are involved? Because I love arts and crafts, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be okay. I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
I think you'll be fine. That was such a good book, though.
I've got it upstairs on my Halloween stack.
We're covering that next month as well, aren't we, Amanda?
We are talking about that one next month, and there's just one chapter that I am really excited to talk about when we get to it. So I can't wait.
I'm adding it to my list as we speak.
It's endorsed by Josh Winning. When we talked to him a couple of weeks ago, that was his one recommendation to read. And it's like, yes, we're covering it. We're very excited.
Yeah. Yes.
I'd heard
All
Josh
spooky books
out, but it's definitely on my list as well.
Okay, well, I guess that pretty much brings us to the end, unless anyone has any other, fun Halloween things that you want to talk about you've got coming up.
I've just got edits as well, and Mum's coming over for dinner, so maybe I'll try and make some kind of blood stew.
I'll just
That'll
be
be
watching
great.
more scary films, so it's just another same old evening in my house, basically.
Depending on why. I would argue as authors, aren't edits like the scariest thing?
Yeah.
So it's
Deadline.
it's fully within the season.
The blank page is the scariest thing.
Yeah.
It's all scary to me.
Page and deadline.
Ooh,
Deadline.
deadline. Ooh.
Ooh. I mean, it just sounds creepy. It's dead. Ooh.
Yeah, on a line.
Okay, so does anyone have anything that you are excited about that you can tell us about? I know everyone's being very hush-hush right now, but is there anything exciting that anyone can tell us before we end this live episode of Fictional Hangover?
Well, Blood on the Wind is coming out very soon. And also, I think Amanda and I are talking about secret plans for something, but I won't talk about that because I like keeping secrets.
When is it coming out, Dawn?
December. So, and actually, I should release the cover pretty soon. It's so amazing. I might just send it to you guys so you can see it. But yeah,
I've seen it and it is amazing.
I want to
Absolutely.
see it. I want to see it.
I've seen ideas, so I need to see it.
And then also The Madness, my adult debut in May. And I can't believe that it's so soon. But yeah. Yay.
Yay!
Exciting stuff.
We get 2 Dawn books. That's very exciting.
It's very exciting. Anybody else have anything you can talk about?
Mina and the Cult's coming out in April, so the 3rd book. We've just released the cover, which I'm really excited about. I managed to get all the characters, all the main characters are on this cover. So yeah, I'm excited that the trilogy is kind of, or it is reaching the conclusion I've been working towards. So yes, that's one. And I don't know, I think nothing's mega secret. It's just things I'm working on, and I don't tend to talk about stuff when I'm working on it. So yeah, that's the only thing I'll say at this point.
Can't wait for that one to wrap up. I'm so excited to see what happens and to see if Fictional Hangover makes it into this book at all.
Probably. I'm sure I've stolen something from you at this point. Maybe Mina will say, I've still not watched The Frighteners, and Jared will hit her over the head with a book. Like, why have you not watched it?
It was released in 1996, Amy. It's perfect.
Oh no.
It's so perfect for you,
So-
honestly. It's like made for you.
So many things were released like just after I set the book. I was really disappointed, like Buffy the series, Scream was too late, lots of stuff I couldn't reference, but it needed to be that particular point to match up with the most violent part of New Orleans history and Interview with Vampire just coming out, so I had to stick to my guns with that one and say, yeah, I made the right decision. But yes,
quite sure Mina will pine for a Michael J. Fox spooky movie. And what do you know, the next year.
Oh yeah,
there it is.
I mean, I could go Teen Wolf, I suppose. I don't think I've referenced.
Oh,
Maybe I could just get a little Michael J. Fox reference in there for you.
you need to.
Absolutely.
The only project I have that I can talk about is Phantom Hearts, which is the graphic novel that I'm working on, which is my deadline is for right now. We're doing the final little round of edits before the artist gets involved. That is supposed to be released September 24. So fingers crossed we could hit all of our deadlines on time. But it's more contemporary but with a spooky twist.
Ooh.
So it's a sort of murder mystery about a mysterious bus crash that tragically kills 4 students and puts the protagonist's father, who was the bus driver, in hospital, very unwell. And to prove her father's innocence, she starts investigating the crash. She's sure that one of the students had a secret worth killing for, and that the bus was sabotaged. And luckily, she seems to start seeing the ghosts of the deceased, or some of the deceased students, who are helping remember their past and unravel the mysteries around what happened. So it's more contemporary themed because they're all dealing with their contemporary stuff, but obviously there are ghosts because.
And this is a graphic novel?
It's a graphic novel, yeah.
Oh, that's so my bag.
Yeah, so I'm having a really good time. It's a completely different thing to write. So writing
Don't-
prose novel. So, yeah.
Don't forget, new
And
release.
12 Bones, yeah, of course, that just came out. My second book baby is out in the world.
Yay!
My
Amanda,
copy
that's your
arrived
copy.
Tuesday.
Oh, thank you. I was like, I don't have one yet. I'm sorry.
That's your copy. Mine's on the shelf.
Thank you.
Everybody has to hug it because it represents the most stressed I've ever been in my life. Like just writing it as quickly as I did. It was very hard. But the good news is I never have to write a second book ever again because I've done that now.
Yay.
I have to say, writing book 3 hasn't been easy than writing book 2. Sorry to break that to you. But
Amy, don't curse things.
That's Dawn's job.
for me, I'm sure it will be fine for everybody else. For me, I found continuing a trilogy, second and third book, was still difficult.
Well, we'll just have to resort to sacrifice. To
Yeah, it'll be fine.
No.
It'll be
in
fine.
order
That's
to,
what-
make sure the next project comes into the world far more easily than previous. I mean, and there's nothing a good blood sacrifice won't cure.
That's funnily enough
exactly.
what one of these stories is about. You need to read this book. There's a blood
I
sacrifice.
think I have it. I'm pretty sure I have it upstairs on my massive Halloween pile.
I think you'd like it.
Kat, what about you? Do you have anything exciting?
I have things that I'm not allowed to talk about because they haven't yet been announced, but there's something to be announced, so at least there
Yay!
is something coming. I also have another anthology that I had a story in this year that came out a couple of months ago. It was my first middle grade horror story, and it was in an anthology called Read Scream. That beautiful thing there that Claire is holding up with the sprayed edges. Can you see those?
I've got it too. Mine's upstairs.
Oh,
So yeah,
why
I mean, I
are
was.
all of your beautiful books in the UK, why do they all have sprayed edges? That's not a thing here.
Because the UK are whores for a sprayed edge.
Yeah, we don't do a hardback, or very rarely do a hardback, but we do a
That's
spread.
fair.
Yeah,
And I
that's-
love a good hardback though, so I guess I've got that going for me.
Mhm.
I love a hardback too.
Okay, well, our last thing that we always ask everyone to do is share where you can be found on social media. Dawn, where can we find you?
I'm at Dawn Kurtagich pretty much everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or X. Threads, the Blue Sky app, everywhere. YouTube.
Kat, what about you?
I'm Kat Ellis Writes everywhere except for X because I've been on that the longest, and I just had the username LCAT, EL_KAT, but I don't tweet much, so just find me elsewhere as Kat Ellis Writes.
Rosie? You've got yours right there on your face.
Yes, so Mary Child, which has absolutely nothing to do with books, and so tells you nothing about what I do. But I am Mary Child on social media. My preferred social media are Instagram and TikTok, but I am also on X, as I think we're supposed to call it now. But again, I don't X that often. Is that what you're supposed to say?
They do something like that.
But
I
I
haven't updated. It's still Twitter on my phone. I refuse to press the update button, so you can just say tweet.
I'll sneak on and I'll do a little flurry, and I do check my messages on there. So yeah, you can get in contact with me that way. And I have a website as well, which is just rosietalbot.co.uk, I think. But I've got lots of free stuff for 16 Souls on there. If you fancy some artwork and maps and general chaos.
It's amazing. And Amy, what about you?
So like Rosie, I still have like a previous username before I was an author. So I've got YA Under My Skin, which was my blogger name. I don't have a blog anymore. I think you can probably still find it out there if you really want to. So that's my Twitter and Instagram. And then I'm Amy McCaw Author on TikTok. And I also have a YouTube channel, which is just my name. So that's easy to find.
Awesome. Okay, well, that is it for this live episode of Fictional Hangover. Thanks for joining us so much, everyone. We love a Halloween episode, and you guys just made it amazing this year. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss WizKit, An Adventure Overdue by Tanya J. Scott. Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover themed merchandise, and become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com. Follow us on Instagram at Fictional Hangover. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Fictional Hangover. And we don't use Twitter anymore, but we are on TikTok. If you like this episode, check out our others and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, a special thanks to all of our wonderful guests for joining us this Halloween. And everybody in the comments, happy Halloween, everyone!
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.